Welcome in to the virtual 143. This is Joseph and Nick coming at you with another episode of Under Review. Good old baseball episode for all you baseball fans out there.
That's right. We're coming out right after the All-Star game. Just happened, and we just came here to discuss what we saw the first half of the season and what we anticipate happening in this upcoming second half. Super, super excited.
Yeah, it was the game itself wasn't super eventful. But we'll talk a little bit about the game, mostly about what we've seen this season so far, what to look forward to for the rest of the season. Let's get us started with the stat of the week, brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Your stat is that the Atlanta Braves, took the title of having the most players in the All-Star game. This season, they had 8 players. We had the most starters. The Rangers did. We had 5 starters. But the Braves had the most players in the game with 8. And it only serves it right because they are right now the best team in baseball. So that makes a lot of sense. They're playing really well. Most of the people think they're going to the World Series. They're right now, they're the hottest team. So wouldn't be surprised. They're a very good team. We'll talk about them more in a second, but that's your stat of the week.
And your player of the week, we're going to make it Elias Diaz, the All-Star Game MVP out of Colorado, hit a 2-run go-ahead bomb in the top of the 8th to put the National League on top, and that was essentially all she wrote. But for the season, he's hit 9 bombs, 45 RBIs, and he's batting .277. So this is by far his most productive year of his entire tenure in the MLB. So congratulations to Elias Diaz.
Atta boy, Elias. Unfortunately, that was for the National League. We were going for the American League, but it was a no-doubter. So great bomb. All-Star game this year. It was tight. Bottom of the 9th, AL had a chance to maybe walk it off. The hometown hero, Julio Rodriguez, had a chance. He walked, and then Jose Ramirez struck out, so nothing too eventful there. I do want to say everybody loves Shohei Ohtani. He did absolutely nothing in this game.
Yeah, I was about to say he was utterly useless, but great ball player. Didn't really do too much in the game. And then also we got to give a congratulations to Vlad Guerrero Jr. He won the home run derby on Monday night, and that was a cool moment because his dad won it years and years ago, and there's that photo of Vlad Guerrero Sr. holding the trophy with little Vlad Guerrero Jr., and everyone was saying he would follow in his dad's footsteps, and he did. He achieved that home run derby champion, and so he's chased down one of his dad's record, and maybe he'll get Hall of Fame just like his dad, but that's years down the road.
Yeah, he first father-son duo to ever win a home run derby. Unfortunately, I think he spent all of his efforts on last night because in the
I'm
All-Star
sure he was
game,
absolutely gassed.
Well, he struck out on 3 pitches in the 9th inning when we needed him. But yeah, that was pretty impressive, pretty remarkable. Obviously, best thing about baseball is the history that it holds, and so that was a pretty cool moment. That father-son duo.
Also, it was cool because this home run derby happened to be in Seattle, and King Griffey Jr. was the only player to win it 3 times, and so the big hype there was that Pete Alonso had done it twice, and so he had the chance to be the second player to win it 3 times, as he was a home run derby candidate, but he did not end up making it all the way to the finals. He actually lost to Julio Rodriguez again in the first round. And he was not able to join Ken Griffey Jr. And obviously, since it was in Seattle, Ken Griffey Jr. was there watching, but he got to see himself hold on to that record.
Well, Pete Alonso's pitcher didn't help him at all. I think that was a big reason. Also, Julio Rodriguez jumped up with 41 home runs. That would be tough to beat in that round. Unfortunately for Julio, he spent himself on that round and did not advance after that. But home run derby was good. All-Star game was good. Let's talk a little bit about the season. We've talked a lot about Rangers, so we probably won't touch on them that much. let's talk about the rest of the league. Nick, what do you see? National American, anything?
Well, obviously, you've got the Braves have the best record in baseball. It's also an interesting time because the Orioles are good, the Marlins are good, and the Diamondbacks as well are
The
good. And
Reds
those
are
are,
also good.
I was about to say, the Reds are good as well. And those are four teams that, at least in my lifetime and Joseph's lifetime, I can think of, have been historically just bad
Terrible.
teams, non-playoff contenders. And I mean, I think it's safe to say most of these teams have a good solid shot at making the playoffs. So it's kind of cool for me to see a different dynamic of good teams rather than the same, eight or whatever good teams. We're seeing teams that kind of stunk before. I think we're included in that as well. But it's cool to see that different new dynamic of teams.
I think what we're seeing this season is that just because you spend $1 billion on your players does not guarantee that you're going to be good. The Mets and the Padres have some of the highest payrolls in baseball, and the Yankees, and they are all disappointing their fan bases, and they're disappointing everyone right now. But we're seeing teams like the Marlins, the Reds, the Diamondbacks, us, and teams like that who are good, who we've never seen be good before. But baseball is just special because one player doesn't really make all that big of a difference because you need each of the 9 players on the field to be good and to do their job. So money doesn't solve everything. I mean, we're seeing that in the NBA as well, but just with baseball, money's not the answer to the problem. You have to find a cohesive unit that knows how to operate and how to each do their job effectively. You don't need to spend $1 billion on these players. We're about to see. So there's a lot of speculation about Shohei Ohtani being possibly traded before the August 1st deadline. And they're saying his contract's going to probably command somewhere from $500 to $700 million. It'll probably be the biggest contract in sports that we've ever seen. Whenever he does sign a contract with another team, and they're saying the Dodgers, but I just don't think one player makes all the difference in the world in baseball. I think we've seen that.
But also the other thing you got to think about was with Shohei, you're getting a good hitter and a good pitcher, so that's what calls him, or that's what makes him so valuable, in my opinion. And it's funny you bring up the Angels because I think it's official. I believe that the Los Angeles Angels have officially wasted Mike Trout's prime. And that's
Oh
pretty
yes, for sure.
unfortunate because he's been a ridiculously good baseball player for the last, like, I don't know, 8 or whatever years he's been in the league.
Yes,
But he has been, riddled with injuries these last few seasons, and so he hasn't really been as good. But also in those years that he was healthy, he was just a part of a crummy Angels organization that wasn't able to do anything in the regular season. So I think that the Angels have officially wasted Mike Trout's prime. That's pretty unfortunate because he's such a likable guy and he helped improve the game a lot. And he just unfortunately didn't really get a whole lot to show for it because the Angels had been so bad for so long that they weren't able to get him anything.
I agree. It is sad. He's a very likable player, and they definitely wasted it. I don't think Shohei is going to stay there. I think he'll probably be leaving, chasing a ring. But a lot of people are saying Shohei is the best player ever to play the game, and I think it is way too early to give him that title. Um, I'm glad he can pitch and hit, but I don't love that we're already giving him best player of all time. Um, I mean, I think Trout still got him on a couple of
I
things.
mean, I think you can say he's one of the most talented, but I don't think you can say anything about best player because he doesn't have the awards or the hardware, if you will, to back it up. So I mean, he could very well by the end of his career, but at this stage, I think that's way too early to say that. Obviously, he's on a path to do great things, but I think he's going to have to get out of Anaheim and go somewhere else if he really wants to do something with his career, because it's kind of a black hole there. You're not gonna get a
Mhm.
ring with the Angels, so I think it would be a good idea for him to go somewhere else.
I think shifting gears here. So the Braves are on a tear. The Braves are looking really good. I mean, baseball. It's all about. We've seen so many times that it's all about when you kind of catch fire, and you want to catch fire in August to September and carry that into October into the postseason. Little worried because it kind of feels like the Rangers might have peaked a little too early. We had 40-20, and since then we have not been playing amazing baseball. The Astros are hot on our heels right now, which that's been a challenge keeping the Astros at bay. Obviously, very well run organization down there in Houston, and we knew they weren't just gonna roll over and let us take the division. So that will be something to look for in the second half of the season. But for the most part in the AL, the divisions are tight. I mean, the Twins barely have the lead in the AL Central. And in the AL East, the Rays have a 2-game lead, just like we have a 2-game lead, but they have a 2-game lead over the Orioles. And so AL right now, it's really close. I actually think a lot of divisions are close right now, except for the Braves division. They have a big lead there, but there's a lot of tight races. I think we're gonna have an exciting September. That's what I think.
Um, and also about peaking early and finding when you get hot, or getting hot at the right time is the best part. The Rangers, I think we did peak a little bit early, but hopefully this week off is just going to be a time for us to rejuvenate, figure out everything that's been going wrong. And I think what's coming out now is our pitching is not efficient at all.
Yeah.
Because at the beginning of the season, it didn't really matter because, early on, we're scoring 12 to 8 runs every
Hmm.
single game. So it didn't matter that your pitchers were giving up 6 or 7 runs because you're still winning by an exceptional margin. But hopefully, we can catch fire here in the month of August and carry that into the postseason because, Andrew Heaney and Martin Perez have been notoriously horrendous in their last couple starts. Martin Perez is not at all what he was last year. I mean, he was one of the best pitchers in the league last year, and he's been getting shelled in his
Yeah.
most recent starts. Same thing with Andrew Heaney. And then in the bullpen, we just don't have any solid arms. We've got Aroldis Chapman who can shove when he gets up there, but the issue is that he can only pitch 1 inning, and we need a lot more out of that.
I would say the Rangers will probably. I mean, they've got a great manager, great hitting. Like they did some amazing managerial changes in the offseason. I think they'll figure it out. Obviously, the Astros have great managers and coaches as well. But I think it'll be kind of cool. I would like to see the Orioles make the playoffs. I don't have anything against the Rays, but they'll. I mean, if they whoever in that division might go wild card and winner of the division, and then the second place would get wild card, I wouldn't be surprised. But it would be cool to see the Orioles in the playoffs. I don't know the last time they made the playoffs, but I don't think it's been any time recently. Um, It'd just be cool to see the Marlins make the playoffs. I don't know the last time they were in the playoffs were, but these teams that just aren't normally good are good this season, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to see. Um, Obviously the Dodgers are still good, so they're not going anywhere. But the Diamondbacks they're tight with them right now. They're neck and neck in the division. So like I said, I think the only team that's really running away with their division is the Braves, and that's because the Mets have nothing to show for themselves. But the Mets have gotten a lot of heat this season. They spent a lot of money on some pitchers and some other players, and they've got nothing to show for it at the moment.
It's unfortunate just because the talent, or I would say the talent is not reflecting the correct level of success. I think they have lots of talented players up there in New York. I'd say they're pretty sound from top to bottom, have or should have decent pitching, but the only thing is they're just not performing well on the field.
Mm-hmm.
They're having injuries. I know, Scherzer had a suspension issue. And so there's just lots of other factors that are playing into it. And then also their stars are just not playing very good. So I think the Mets are a good team. We could see them maybe go on a heater here soon and maybe get back into it and sneak into a wild card spot. But I really don't think there's anyone in that division that's going to come close to touching the Braves.
No, definitely not. Um, I just think, it's cool. Like I was saying, 5 of the 6 divisions are close. I think we're in for a very exciting second half of the season. Recently, it's been, it hasn't really been tight in most of the divisions coming towards the end of the season. So I'm pumped. Obviously, I think the main reason Nick and I are pumped for this season is because our team, the Rangers, are finally looking like they could make it into the playoffs and maybe do some damage there. Try not to get our hopes up because we're still only on games
Yep.
like 90 of 162, but this is there's hope there, and we're pumped for the rest of the season. I'm excited
I was
to see
about to
some good
say
baseball.
halfway through the season and pretty solidly above 500 and in the division or in the lead of the division. So, I mean, it's a pretty good spot to be in as a Rangers fan. I'm enjoying it right now. Haven't been here in, I don't know, it's been a long, long time.
I think it's been
So I'm
about 10
super
years.
excited. Yeah, something like that for some playoff baseball because we might actually get to partake in it this year.
I'm super pumped. Yeah, it'll be we're hopeful, and we'll keep talking about it, bringing on news. But I think not
Absolutely.
just with the Rangers, but the entire league, this is looking to be a pretty fun season, and it's already been pretty interesting so far. So you'll need to keep watching, keep your eyes out for it.
Absolutely. So, viewers who like to end our shows on Under Review, I have brought to you a quote from the great Jackie Robinson himself. And he said, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on other lives." And that's the truth.
That is the truth. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Tune in next week for another episode of Under Review.